because I feel like that's what a lot of trainers do. Like you'll see on Instagram, and it's a bunch of models taking pictures of themselves in swimsuits. And we look and we're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to look like. Or you'll see all of their salads and their celeries and, things like that. And they're like, oh, well, that's what I'm supposed to eat. It's just, just kind of showing that realness. And I feel like that's what makes me the trainer that I am, because I am real.
So it's Carla Rand on the Carla Rand Show, and I'm excited to have Gina Roberts with me today. And remember, the Carla Rand Show is about helping you to get fit, to get healthy, physically, but also spiritually, mentally, emotionally. But I have Gina on here today, and we're going to talk about some emotional and mental things. But we are also going to talk about fitness because she is a fitness coach. And Gina is from Texas. She does a lot of fitness training out there, and she is like not your mainstream typical fitness coach, not the typical Barbie doll fitness coach that a lot of this kind of mainstream narrative sort of tells us that we're supposed to be as fitness coaches. And that's kind of how you and I connected, Gina, was just like we talked about that and we realized how passionate we are about being real and raw and sharing our struggles. So, welcome to the Carla Rand Show, Gina. So happy to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to come on here to your show and talk with you. So I started my fitness journey, I guess you should say, probably about 7 years ago. But just to rewind just a little bit, to tell a little bit more about me, I am originally from Muncie, Indiana. Shout out Muncie. And I grew up in a household where we did not exercise. I did not know nutrition. We had our bacon grease jar sitting on the counter right by the stove. And that's, what we seasoned our food with. I didn't know exercise. I didn't know any of this. Um, and then I broke my leg when I was 16 years old. So I had to get a rod put into my leg. So that really kind of limited my physical abilities, being able to run and jump and things like that. So I kind of was just apathetic about it and was like, yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
And then when I moved down here to Texas and got pregnant, I gave up drinking and smoking and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now I can eat now. And then after I had the baby, I just assumed, oh, I'm going to, lose all this weight. And that weight did not go anywhere. So I was almost 300 pounds when I delivered my first son. I gained well over 100 pounds.
Mm.
And it was very hard for me. And I fell in love with fitness when I started going to a boot camp class. And that's just, that's where I just kind of dove in. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what this is, burpees and push-ups. And, I didn't smoke cigarettes anymore. So I was actually able to run and breathe. And it was just, I was just loved working out. And I was able to lose the weight, really quickly. And just, it became a lifestyle. And then when I had my second child and I started basically paying for daycare, it was just, that's all I was doing. And my husband was the one that gave me the support to tell me, why don't you quit corporate America and start doing what you love to do? And I was really, really hesitant about that, even though I was doing personal training. I mean, me and my friends, we would work out, I would help them with meal plans and things like that. I just wasn't getting paid for it, because I didn't think that I could be a personal trainer. Like you said, I had this idea that personal trainers are like Barbie dolls and they're ready, okay. And that's not me at all. So it was one of my friends that told me, Gina, that's why I love to work out with you, is because, you're real, you're a mom, you're a foodie, you understand the struggles that we go through, and you make workouts fun. And that's what I really pride myself on, is one, trying to find the perfect level for the advanced person as well as provide modifications, but most importantly, have fun with your workouts. So after I got, my nerve up, I went ahead, I quit my job in April. I got certified at Cooper Institute in May, and then I launched my business in July.
Hmm. Nice.
So it was just like boom, boom, boom. Like I said, I've been doing it for 7 years. I started out doing boot camp classes, mommy and me workouts. Then I started doing personal training, and I just, I had one client that introduced me to all her friends. So, word of mouth is what really grew my business. And a lot of my clients I noticed were older females. And I started to kind of get more certifications in like functional aging and silver sneakers and, different things like that, making sure that I could serve the community that I had. So, I've been doing that, and I just feel I love working with seniors, and I even have some individuals that have disabilities, Parkinson's and lupus, MS, and I love working with those individuals because it's just so rewarding. I feel like that population mostly is forgotten about when it comes to fitness, and they need that so much more.
Mhm.
So I love working with those individuals, but I've also been doing, besides the personal training, I've also been doing an online program, which is awesome. I love that. The problem I had with it was my getting into the social media, because even though my background is marketing and communications, that's what my degree is in. I didn't really know too much about social media and how to market that way.
Mhm.
So this has been very different for me trying to learn how to do that. And one of the ways I feel like I've kind of reached out to my audience is just showing them my transparencies, instead of trying to feel or to think like I have this imposter syndrome. No, I'm a real person. I'm real. And I struggle with my temptations and everything else. So on a couple of my different posts, I've actually posted, this is what I want to eat, but I'm not going to. And
Mhm.
I feel like that has really helped. And that's kind of the approach that I try to take, like I said, as far as just being a real person and providing that real support and really serving my community.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're in Texas, I'm in Alberta, Canada, but, like, there are similarities of, like, our mindset and how we structure things is so similar, and so it was really fun talking to you. I was like, "Oh, man, I gotta have Gina on the podcast because we're doing such a similar thing, and how fun to just be able to talk about it and share it." And I've had a lot of fun too. I don't actually run classes for the elderly population at this time, but I have done some of that, and I have certifications in that, and I really love working with that demographic too.
Mhm.
They're so fun, and, like, I think too there's something about as you get older, I think you sort of let your guard down and you're a little
Yeah.
bit less like, "Oh, I need to talk about," like, you're just like you just say it like it is, and I just love their
Yes.
honesty,
Yes.
it's so fun.
Yes, definitely.
So what has been kind of your what have you found sort of the most rewarding about being a personal trainer, being a fitness coach, whether it's in person or online, whatever part you wanna talk about?
I love seeing the growth and changes in my clients, and more than just seeing their weight go down, which is awesome. I love seeing that. And I love seeing, before and after pictures. And that's so rewarding. But like I was saying, working with individuals with disabilities.
Mhm.
And I have this one lady who, when I first was working with her, she was not able to lift herself up. She wasn't able to, turn over. And she told me, she says, you don't know how many times I've laid in bed wishing that I could roll over, not wanting to wake up my husband. So just laying here, not being able to roll over. I've been working with her enough, building her upper body strength. So now she's able to actually turn over in the middle of the night. And for us, we think that's such a small thing. We all roll over in our sleep, but no, not all of us do. So when she told me that now she's able to do that, of course she gives me the credit and I have to give it right back to her and say she's the one that's been working hard and doing everything. But that right there, when she told me that, that just, it brought tears to my eyes, and just like
Mhm.
my heart just felt like it was going to explode. And she just, because she's almost crying, saying, I rolled over last night. So something, as little as that. And then when you see the big improvements, like, okay, 2 months ago I could barely lift my foot up, now I'm lifting my foot up off the ground and holding it with my eyes closed. Those are the kind of rewards that mean so much more to me. I mean, I love the numbers on the scale, but those I feel like are just so much more.
Yeah. It's so rewarding. I agree. When you see somebody like, "Oh, look, I can run and play with my kids now. I never used to be able to. I can go up the
Mhm.
stairs. I can go for a hike and I could never do that." Like all of the
Yeah,
things that make life more rewarding. And I mean, rolling over in your sleep, like we wouldn't even think about that, but that's a real thing
exactly.
for some people and a big deal, right? Like how
Exactly.
helpless would you feel if you could not do that? And then for you to be able
Mhm.
to like empower her and be able to help her, like of course she's going to be thrilled, right? So yeah, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. And I always think too, like a lot of times with my clients too, it's like, "Oh, Carla, we thank you so much," but ultimately it's them that's doing the work. You know, I
Exactly.
can guide you all day, but if you don't do what you're told and you don't like work at it, you're not going to get the results.
Exactly. And that's the thing with a lot of people, they want to do all the workouts, but then they ruin it in the kitchen. So I
Yeah.
really try to talk about nutrition because that's key. I tell all my clients it's so much easier not to eat the calories than it is to burn the calories.
Yes.
So I really try to talk with my clients and try to show them, different ways of eating different things, eat this, not that kind
Mhm.
of a thing. And I really try to instill that kind of thing and that thinking into their head. It's not a short term, like I hate the word diet because everyone thinks, oh, I'm on a diet. No, you need to eat like that all the time.
Yeah.
That's, all the time you need to eat like that. So that's something else that I really try to focus on with all my clients is eating smarter, eating better, and giving them making sure that they're properly nourishing their bodies.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so key. I always tell them too, if you're starting it as a diet and you already have an end date for it,
Mhm,
you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. If you can't do this and
mhm,
you can't picture doing this all the time, then you probably need to find a different diet coach, whatever, because
mhm.
you're going to end up just crashing your brain. Not that there isn't a time to, oh, we're going to do some calorie cycling, we're going to do some intermittent fasting for a while, we're going to try to take you off dairy for a while. Like there's stuff like that that can happen.
Mhm.
But in general, like that should not be their strategy for however long. You need to be able to have something that's going to be sustainable for the long haul, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's great to have short term goals, especially, you have a reunion to go to or a wedding to go to or, something like that. Yeah, that's great. But in reality, it's the long haul that really makes a difference. It's every day, that consistency.
Mhm.
That's where you'll really see the big changes.
Yeah, you said something, Gina, when you were talking. You said imposter syndrome. Can you
Mhm,
explain to me a little bit? First of all, what is imposter syndrome for those who maybe are a little bit confused about that word? And then
mhm.
why did you feel that way? Why did you feel like an imposter in the fitness space?
Yeah, well, like I said, when I first started, I was real hesitant about becoming certified anyway because I felt like that. Because I've kind of always struggled with my weight. I'm 5'10". I've bounced around from anywhere from like 170 to 210 in my adult life. So, thankfully, I'm 5'10", so I can hide a couple extra pounds. But yeah, I've kind of always struggled with that. Like I said, I didn't grow up eating healthy. I learned everything on my own. And I just kind of always felt, well, not good enough. Like when you see a lot of trainers, they're wearing their sports bras and shorts and, they look awesome. And, some of them are bikini models or fitness, they do a lot of competitions and things like that. And that's never, ever been my goal or my thought. But, I am human. They always say, the comparison is the thief of joy. Is that how I'm
Yes.
paraphrasing? I don't know if I said it
Yeah,
right
I
or
think you
not.
did say it right. Yeah.
Okay. But even though I say not to compare yourself, we still compare ourselves. So,
Mhm.
looking at different trainers and I'm like, wow, look at her, look at her. And then I'm looking here at my belly. Again, I did have two kids.
Mhm.
Um, so, I've kind of always, struggled with that and just thought, oh, how can I give advice when, I'm struggling over here? I'm over here, having seconds or, something like that. So I've always kind of had that, thinking, well, no one would want to, have me as their personal trainer. I don't look like a personal trainer. I'm not wearing a bikini. Um, so yeah, I've kind of, would always kind of think back and I do good for a while and then kind of go back. And then and then I don't know what it was, what light bulb it was that kind of went off in my head. And I was just thinking, no, it's not, I'm having that imposter syndrome. Instead of, feeling like I'm an imposter or I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. Um, I'm going to remind myself that I am human. I am a normal person, and I feel like that's what makes me special. That's what makes me the trainer that I am. That's why I named my business Personal Changes Training because I feel I'm trying to make it as personal as I possibly can. And speak with all my clients and see what's going on with them, not just making sure they're working out with me but they're working out all the time, sending those motivational text messages, sending different things, doing whatever it is that they need me to help push them. And again, showing my transparencies, showing when I had too much queso or I ate the cake or whatever, and being honest and open with that because just showing that even though I'm a trainer, I have certifications in nutrition. I still love cookies and I talk about cookies and I put out different videos of, the cookie talking to me and me literally like wanting to cuss out the cookie. No, I don't want you, cookie. Shut up, cookie. Um, and because I mean, that's the struggles that a lot of us go through, walking past the pantry back and forth knowing that there's, those cookies in there. Or I did a video about the cake. I don't eat a whole piece of cake, but sometimes the cake is uneven, and you
Mhm.
have to just kind of just make it even. So I didn't have a piece, but I evened that cake out a few times. But
Yeah.
letting people know sometimes that's okay, because that's real struggles. That's what us real people go through.
Mhm.
And yeah, we may have our slips, but we're going to get back up every day, because it's not just about those one or two times where we enjoy ourselves and, have dinner with friends, or, a drink at a party, or, something like that. But okay, the next day I had that cheat meal. The next day I'm still getting up and I'm still doing my workout, not because I had that cake or whatever, but because I can. And that's why I tell my clients, I work out and we're going to do an extra set of something because we can, and we get to work out, we get to move our bodies. It's not punishment, it's a reward. um I'm one of those crazy people that I love exercise. I love the way it makes me feel, and I try to spread my contagiousness on the love of exercise. um and just showing, because I feel like that's what a lot of trainers do. Like, you'll see on Instagram, and it's a bunch of models taking pictures of themselves in swimsuits, and we look and we're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to look like. Or you'll see all of their salads and their celeries and, things like that, and they're like, oh, well, that's what I'm supposed to eat. It's just, just kind of showing that realness, and I feel like that's what makes me the trainer that I am, because I am real.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so important, and, like, you said so many things there, so I can't, like, necessarily grab everything, but one of
Sorry,
the
I start rambling.
No, it's good. It's good, I'm the same way. So, one thing that you said was, you're looking on, say, Instagram, for example, and there's, like,
Mhm.
some kind of fitness model or some sort of fitness trainer or influencer or whatever, just all these pictures of them in bathing suits, different angles, whatever, the light's just right, they just it's a
The
photo shoot,
filters.
filters, all of that kinda stuff, and it's like, okay, why do we do this? Like, why do we do this to ourselves? So, as ladies, we're looking, and you talk about the comparison is a thief of joy. So, what I do is I just clean out my Instagram, I clean out my Facebook, and I get rid of all of those things because it doesn't help
Yeah.
me. It just makes me think, like, oh, am I supposed to look like that? Like, do I have to have those special filters and lights? Do I have to get that
Mhm.
lean so that I can, like, look good in the picture? Because that's really lean, and you can only maintain that leanness for a short time, unless you're like, there are people that are those ectomorph body types. They're just always lean and they're always trying to eat more to get heavier. Like, there are those people too. I don't work
Yeah.
with as many of those, but there are those people. But I think,
Mhm.
like, just clean up your Instagram, clean up your Facebook, just get rid of those people. You don't
That's
need
a
to
great
follow them.
idea.
That's what I do.
It
So
really
now
is.
now when I go to Instagram, Facebook, it's a happy place. Everybody that I want to be there is there. I don't have anybody that's showing up there making me feel bad. And I think if you're following somebody Facebook, Instagram, and it kind of makes you feel bad when you're
Mhm.
looking at it, get rid of it. You don't need that in your life.
Exactly.
So that would be the first thing.
Exactly.
And then also too, like, why are you so passionate about it? Like, you talk about being a real person, and this is really kind of part of my brand, Gina, as like Power Fitness, is very
Mhm.
much like we are real and raw. So we actually do videos, but they're live videos. Like, we don't edit a bunch of stuff out. So if somebody like
Mhm.
snorts or spews water or whatever, like, it's on there, and we do that on purpose. And we get real
Exactly.
coaches, not models that we bring in from somewhere. We don't have all the filters and the lights and all the special, photo shoot prep. We just kind of go with
Mhm.
it. And
Mhm.
so there's a reason that we do that because I want people to look and be like, oh, that's a normal person. She has a
Mhm.
name. She has a hobby. She struggles with A, B, and C, right? Gina
Mhm.
struggles with
Mhm.
cookies. I love cookies too, by the way, Gina. I think, like, you got to have some few cookies. If you're going to work out this hard and you can't have a few cookies, what are you even doing? You know what I'm saying? Not all the time,
Exactly.
but you have to be able to enjoy them sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Balance and moderation. But, like, why are you so passionate about that? We talked about it a little
Well,
bit, but yeah, what
yeah, well,
drives you?
well, like you were saying with the workout videos, there's so many different workout, not to mention any names or anything, but I know there's a lot of companies, and it seems like all their people that are working out are models. And you look at them and they're all doing like perfect tuck jumps and, going out, crazy. And see, me, I'm the trainer. I will complain right along with you on how hard an exercise is, or, oh God, we only got 10 seconds. Come on, guys. you know,
Mhm.
and it's almost a little discouraging, like you were saying with the Instagram feed. When you see all these models that aren't breaking a sweat, they're doing everything perfect, they look perfect, it gets a little discouraging. And
Mhm.
I think that's, one of the biggest flaws in the fitness industry is this stigma that we put that everyone is, supposed to be perfect and supposed to do that. So I feel like that's kind of my passion, is to show people that no, it's not like that. I mean, and for the people that are just naturally slim and perfect, that's great, but my passion is to help the person that's not, the person that needs that modification, the person that does not like to work out, that wants to eat all the cookies. That's my passion, is to make someone that didn't want to work out love to work out, and to
Mm,
make them want to work out. Because like I say, no, you don't, it's two different things. It's not like you can say, oh, I have to work out. No, I have to work out.
mm,
That's the difference, and that's what fuels me, is to help people. Like I said, earlier, I'm not a salesperson, I'm a service person. I'm all about serving you. What can I do to help you? I feel like I'm right along in the trenches, right along with every one of my clients in the weight loss journey, and I want all of us to be able to grab hands, help each other, and all of us do it together. So I feel like that's my biggest passion, is to just help the individuals that need that help. And I feel God blesses us with so many different talents, and I just feel like that's my talent,
mm.
and I would be doing a disservice. And that's what helped me actually get over my little imposter syndrome that I was having, because I was thinking, I would be doing a disservice to my community of the people that I serve if I don't put this information out there. If I don't, put me out there just raw, unfiltered, this is how it is. I do lots of videos, because if I'm like, oh, you know what, I have a great idea, I have to do it right now. I know my hair's a mess. I just finished a workout. I'm going to go on there anyway. And I'm breathing heavy and, everything else. But I have words of wisdom that I have to share. And I love it when people come back and they're like, oh, I love that video that you did. That really helped me. And
Mhm.
that's my passion, and that's why I love to do what I do. Is it makes me happy. That's why I volunteer, because it makes me happy, and that's why I do what I do.
I think when you're real too, that there's no fakeness. Like it's not like, oh, I have to try to keep up this image. It's like I'm just real. So if you see me doing this, you see me do it, like that's just me. So then there's never any like, oh shoot, did I get caught? Did I get busted? Because everybody
Yeah.
knows. Like I've struggled with binge eating since I was about 12 years old. It's just sort of this food thing.
Mhm.
And so I tell people like I struggle with it, and I'm like, God, why do I struggle with this? And it's like he's saying, because so many other people do, Carla, and you need to be able to relate to them. And I really feel like that's the big
Exactly.
thing. And I talk to so many fitness trainers, Gina, and probably you do too. And so many of them struggle with things like binge eating. So many of them struggle with eating disorders. They struggle with all kinds of things. And so many of them don't share it. So then other people that are struggling with, binge eating or eating disorders or whatever, they go and they're like, this fitness trainer totally can't relate to me, or this fitness trainer is just so perfect and I'll never measure up. And it is good to have somebody to aspire to. Absolutely. Like, it's not like we're like, oh, look at us, we're a mess. Oh, look at, I can eat pizza every night. Like, I'm just a mess. Like, that's not cool either. But to be
Mhm.
able to know, like, we're going to strive, but we're going to fail. And that's normal
Mhm.
and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. And I feel like that's me right there, is just, showing my community that, I do struggle with everything, but I still get up, and I'm still going to keep going on every single day. And that's what fuels me, is being able to do this every single day to help individuals, and let them know that even though I'm a trainer, I still have my struggles. There's still days that I don't want to work out, and I
Mhm.
tell people I'd so much rather have dedication than motivation, because motivation might kind of fade a little bit away, but your dedication, your commitment, is what's going to keep you going back every single day. um, and that's what it is, really.
Well said. And I think too, like what I often say is, it's not the people that are successful all the time that are actually going to be successful. It's not the people that are perfect. It's the people that, like you've said so many times, that just get back up. Oh, I overate dinner. I missed my workout, but I'm back at it. I get to do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. Right. And
Exactly.
I think that's the difference between those who really succeed and progress in their fitness or really anything in their life and those who don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this what sabotages people so much is that all or nothing thinking. Either I have to be perfect, or I might as well just go eat a whole pizza and Oreo cookies. Everybody talks about Oreo cookies, so that must be a problem. It's not as much of a problem for me, but there are things that are a problem for me. But like whatever it is, it's like
Uh-huh.
I'm either going to be all in or all out, and there's no sort of medium. And I actually find, I don't know if you find this, Gina, but I find that most of the work that I do with my coaching clients, like especially my personal coaching clients, is the work of balance. Like it's okay
Mhm.
to have a little bit of this without eating the whole bag. It's okay
Exactly.
to have balance in your life. That's what you have to strive to, and it's okay to fail and then get back up. That's also part of it.
Hmm. Definitely. And I think a lot of my clients, we do probably our best work when we're actually just communicating and just talking and kind of sharing stories. I always, my fitness pal, I'd be able to look at my clients and kind of see what they're eating, but we'll talk about it too. And I'll always ask them, okay, what'd you eat last night? Okay, what time did you eat? And I'll tell them, okay, well, this is what I had. I was a little bad today, or, oh, I was so good. Listen to what I had. And we'll share recipes and secrets and different things like that. But when I first start working with a client, I like to do kind of like a little wellness coaching and speak with them and to see if there are any type of issues when it comes to food, because so many people use food as that coping mechanism. So I always try to make sure I distinguish that, because if that's something that can be a very big issue too, and that may need a little bit more as far as counseling or different ways. People, we deal with different things and different ways. So
Mhm.
I always try to make sure that's something that I can speak on, or do I need to maybe send you to someone that is a professional that can kind of help you and have different ways to deal with food instead of using that as that coping system.
Yeah. Did you get in my head, Gina? Did you get in my head? Because that's like exactly what I'm always telling people. Like, I don't know how many clients I end up referring to, like a physiotherapist or a psychotherapist or whatever, because they just need something that I can't offer, right? Like knowing my
Yeah.
scope of practice. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people need therapy. They're dealing with all kinds of stuff, and their food is that coping mechanism. And I think there's a lot that you can do as far as like balancing hormones and just like cleaning up your food, eating whole food so that you feel better, you have energy, etc. But sometimes it's just like there is something else going on, and a nutrition coach maybe just can't get to it, and you need to get
Yeah.
into it with with therapy. So I really think that everybody should have a physiotherapist, a nutrition coach, a fitness coach, like
Yes.
a therapist, like a psychotherapist, and like all of the things, a doctor, all the things to just really like get them balanced and get them really thriving in all of those areas, because it all
Mhm.
works together. It's all connected.
Exactly, exactly. And I always say, sugar is a drug and it is very addictive. I mean, I've listened to different research and everything else about how sugar really does affect your brain. And I know that a lot of people, myself included, it's like, I do struggle with the sugar, the sugar addiction and everything. So that's something, that I always try to talk with my clients about and just kind of, again, relate and let them know I struggle with it too. It's okay. We can struggle with it, but we're going to get through it and keep moving on. And like you said, you may fall down, but we're going to just keep getting up and going back, and being able to kind of identify first, identify your why. That's what's so important, making sure the client knows why they're doing this and keep reminding them, because it is hard. It's so hard. So we need those constant reminders. And I love it when I hear people say, well, my biggest why, to get off my blood pressure medicine, or to be able to play with my kids, or whatever. Just always reminding them of their why are you doing this, and just keep giving them the motivation, every day, because every day it is a struggle, but you just got to keep doing it.
Well, since you talked about sugar addiction, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Um,
Uh-huh.
Different trainers and coaches have different sort of methods, and maybe it just changes and varies based on who you're working with. But do you generally say, when it comes to things like a sugar addiction, do you typically say, you know what, just avoid it completely? Let's just get it out of the house, get it out of sight. Or do you kind of say, you know what, we need to incorporate this, so you should have a little bit every day? Or does it just kind of depend on who you're working with?
It definitely depends on who I'm working with. I'm glad you said that, because I feel like I'm kind of like a chameleon when it comes to being a trainer, and you
Yeah.
have to be, because different people need different things.
Mhm.
That's why I'm a remix girl. I'll remix different diets and different things, because different people, it just works differently. So what I'll typically do is I'll ask my clients straight up, what are you motivated by? What is going to help you? Do you feel that you need to just have a zero cold turkey cut down on no sugar? Do you feel that you need a little bit a day? I mean, what's going to work for you? And just let them answer me. And I kind of, depending on their answer. Now, and then I always suggest to drink water, chug water. We never drink enough water, but a lot of times our body, and speaking of that, hold on one second.
I think I drink enough water. I think I'm one of those exceptional people, Gina,
Good
that
for
like
you.
I'm just like I'm always going to the bathroom and I'm always drinking water. So
Yeah,
like
definitely.
I drink probably like I don't know how many of these, probably 10 of these a day or
Uh huh.
something.
Yep.
but I'm probably well, I know that I'm the exception because a lot of the clients who work, they're like, "How do you drink water? I keep forgetting, or it makes me feel sick, or whatever." So
Yeah.
it's a good
Well,
point.
a lot of times we're dehydrated and our body doesn't even realize it. And our brain thinks we just have a sweet tooth. So I always tell people chug some water, drink water, and it may possibly go away, especially if you sidetracked yourself. Um, but if you do need something sweet, what I always suggest is like a little bit of like cocoa, like the actual natural cocoa, because that is really good for you. So you can have, I forget the actual dose. It's probably like, I don't even know, like a little, I get the little Trader Joe's little chocolate bars, and it's like one little piece of the little
Hmm.
chocolate bar. And that, if someone says, I just want something a little sweet after dinner, then that's what I'll always go to is the cocoa, the A at the end. And that is something that's definitely good for you.
Yeah, or even fruit, or like there's so many natural things
Yeah.
that can do that. But I think
Mhm.
too, like, with my clients, I certainly do the same thing. Some of them, they need to kind of have a little bit each day because then they don't feel like they're depriving. And some of them need to
Exactly.
just get it out of there because as long
Yeah.
as it's there, they're just going to keep eating it. And it's just going to keep fueling that sort of addiction. And I think there's a time, what, it's a challenge though, Gina, because we live in a culture, we live in a country where there's such an excess of sugar, sweets,
Mhm.
salty, like fatty. There's just such an excess of processed foods that are designed specifically to taste amazing. And,
Yeah.
they want you to eat as many as possible because they make more money. So they purposely
Mhm.
get scientists, researchers to make it as addictive as possible. So that's what we're
Exactly.
fighting, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, you think, oh, well, we live in such a safe place. Yeah, well, you know what? Like every convenience store, like imagine that as like, I don't know, like a drug
Oh,
place. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like they are trying to sell you and they're trying to make it as good as possible and get you hooked. And you see that in the marketing. I mean, even like the pictures, the big billboards, show something really tasty, or the ads on
Mhm.
social media, the ads on TV, whatever. They're all trying to get you to go there and eat and pick that up and eat it. So it's really like when you think of it that way, it's a little bit scary sometimes, and you wonder why
Mhm.
people struggle. It's pretty obvious
And
why they
it's what
struggle.
you're fighting against. Like with me, I try to put boundaries on my kids as far as their sweets and everything. But yeah, I'm fighting with all of that because it's so there all the time.
Hmm.
So it is definitely hard for all of us consumers.
I think we have to think outside the box, and really be like, you know what? Just because everybody else eats that, or everybody else goes to that store, or everybody else does it this way, we have to do it differently. I don't know how many times my kids are like, "Oh, mom, like our lunches aren't very good. Everybody else has so many tasty things in their lunch," and I'm like, ah, like so that. But that's what we're up against, and so we have to,
Mhm.
teach our kids and train our kids why we do the things that we do, why we cook the way
Mhm.
that we do, and why we're actually trying to help them in the end.
Mhm.
Not that they can't have treats sometimes, but I just think so many of us we just eat so much of it. It just becomes
Oh yeah.
like an addiction, and it's like we just need it. I've
Mhm.
talked to people where they're like, oh, they eat their supper and then they're like, oh, I still need more. I'm going to go get some Skittles, or I'm going to go get some candy. And I'm like, why do you need that? Well, I'm still hungry, but you didn't finish your supper. Well,
Yeah.
it's satisfying something in me. Oh, maybe it's that dopamine addiction that you have, that the sugar, that maybe that's what you're actually feeding. You think it's hunger, but
Mhm.
it's not. So I think we
Mhm.
really have to step back and just really look at why do we make the decisions that we do? And we're
Mhm.
humans. We have hormones. We have, cravings. We have blood sugar levels that go all over the place, and we need to be able to balance
Mhm.
those things.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of different ways to do it, but that's where a coach comes in. If you're struggling,
Mhm.
right? Someone like
Mhm.
you, someone like me, that can actually guide you and help you, because otherwise it could just be this constant thing in your life. And really, I don't feel that we should be addicted and stuck. We need to keep finding answers and keep getting help until we can finally get to the point where we are reaching our goals. We are feeling good. We do have energy.
Mhm. And then another tip I just thought of is gum. I tell my clients I chew gum probably like all the time because, especially when I'm cooking, and that's a thing that I think a lot of us don't think about. I say all the taste bites and licks, they add up.
Yes.
So if anyone, when they're cooking, of course we have to taste our food and everything. So that's why I try to chew gum, because if I have gum in my mouth, one, I get my little sweet tooth. They have the little sweet gum, the sugar free, what is it, the extra. I always get the extra, like the watermelon or something. And that way I get that sweetness after my dinner, but also I have gum in my mouth, so I can't do all the tasting while I'm cooking. So
Yeah.
that's something that I always suggest.
Yeah. That's a good tip. Another one is even just brushing your teeth after supper. There's something about once you've
Yes,
brushed them, you're kind of like, I don't really want to eat anything now. Like I'm fresh, I'm good to go.
that's
Yeah.
that's an excellent idea. I've been doing that too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's so many different tips and tricks, but I really feel like at the end of the day, you got to find out what works for you. How do you work? And just because person A, this certain diet or this certain program worked for them for a period of time, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the perfect fit for you, right?
Exactly, exactly. And that's why I tell my clients all the time, what is it that's going to work for you? Because with eating, with, motivation, it's what works for you. And that's what's going to work. And
Mhm.
people, they'll ask me, they're like, well, what's the best time of day to work out? And I say, well, look at your schedule. And when's the time that you're going to work out? For
Yeah.
me, I do it at 5 because I get it done over with and then I can start my day. But if you're not able to do that, then when are you going to be able to do it? Because that's whatever works for you is the best time or the best way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can say, "Oh, this is optimal," or "That's optimal," but ultimately, when are you gonna do it? Like, are you gonna do it? And if so, that's when it's
Yes,
optimal.
that's when the best time is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks, Gina. Is there any kind of anything that we haven't touched on that you really wanna talk about today, or do you feel like we kinda covered everything?
Um, I don't know. I feel like I could just sit here and talk with you forever.
I
I mean, I
know.
love talking about this topic anyway. I just want to make sure that I've been able to answer all of your questions and I haven't kind of like rambled off on my own little thing because I tend to do that. But no, I just want to tell you thank you again for having me. It was awesome being able to speak with you and kind of give my thoughts. If there is anyone that's listening that is struggling, I just hope that they will listen to this and maybe I kind of have helped them and made them realize that they're not going to compare themselves. They're going to be real with themselves and enjoy this life because we only have one of it. We only have one body and we have to make it the best. And we get to choose that. When you wake up in the morning, you get to choose that you're going to have a good day. You get to make those choices. So make good choices.
Yeah. Amen. So where do people go to find you, Gina, if they wanna connect with you? Do you have a website or social media, or where's the best place?
Yeah, so my website is personalchangestraining.com. I have Facebook, Personal Changes Training, Instagram, Personal Changes Training, and Twitter, Personal Changes Training. Pretty easy
Okay.
to remember all that.
Nice. Perfect. So yeah, go connect with Gina, like learn from her. And Gina, I just thank you. Like as a fellow fitness coach, it's very hard for me to find other fitness coaches to come on, and fitness coaches that aren't kind of trying to. And I mean, yeah, like there's just, but just not that sort of like I have to be a Barbie doll or I have to be sort of fakey. I have to have everything just right because people can't relate to that, and it's so nice and refreshing for me as a coach, but also for so many people, moms, just ladies in general who can say, look, this person is real. This person has real struggles. So I just appreciate you sharing with that. I know initially when you start sharing it, it can seem really vulnerable. And then as you get used to it, you're just like, it's just me, whatever, right? And you get accustomed to it.
Exactly.
And I think that's a good
Exactly.
thing for people to see. So, go check out Gina's stuff, follow her, reach out to her if you have questions or, you want anything or sign up for one of her programs, whatever it takes. But yeah, thank you, Gina. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Carla. Thank you for all that you do for all of us. And you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Gina. Thank you for tuning into the podcast today. I absolutely love that you joined us. I love being able to record these, and I love our guests. It's been so much fun. So thank you. Please like it, share it, comment, do all of the things that you feel like you want to do if you enjoyed this podcast. I really, really appreciate that. And this podcast has been brought to you by my company, Power Fitness Online. So everything that we do locally with our workouts, with our group nutrition coaching, and with all of the other fun events and stuff that we run, we put all of that online. So now you can access everything, even if you're not locally, don't live in our area. So my coaches and I and all my staff, the whole team, we are putting so much work into these workouts. We're filming 5 fresh workouts every single week so that you never have to do the same workout twice. We're also doing group nutrition and personal nutrition coaching so that you get exactly what you need. And you know what the best part is? It's the community. The absolute best part is just knowing that you have the support, that you have the encouragement, that you have everything you need to succeed. So go to powerfitnessonline.com.